Welcome everyone to the Max spoilers on Baldur's Gate 3. We are covering Act 1. We may cover the other acts, but that depends on whenever Haley finishes them. Haley, how long are you in on Act 1 right now? How many hours?
I'm done Act 1, but it took me like 90 hours to finish Act 1. And to be fair, the first, maybe it's more like 80, because I played for 10 hours and then got restarted. So 80 hours for Act 1. That's
80
fair.
hours and then you restarted Act 1?
10 hours and then I restarted and now we're at 90.
Okay. Before we get into that, because now we need to unpack that, Ben wants me to say that you can unlock the podcast version of this discussion and help support content like this directly by supporting MinnMax on Patreon at the $5 tier. You also get the podcast version of the Deepest Dive on Armored Core 6, our bonus podcast party chat, and early access to the MinnMax show. Yay!
Yes.
Okay, but anyways, back to Baldur's Gate Act 1. 10 hours, and then you had to switch. What happened?
My partner and I wanted to do a cute little co-op thing where like we did split screen and we had this whole lore set up. His guy was named Crandall, I think. He was a halfling bard, and then I was a tiefling druid, which I ended up keeping. And we had like a whole backstory. I had like a blood oath to protect him, and I hated him. It was like our joke. And then like he was just like a little guy running around like not that strong.
You were enemies to lovers?
Exactly. And then we were so sad that you can't romance like your party, which
you can't romance any other like actual player characters.
No, but so we played a lot of it, and then I don't know if they fixed this since then. This was launched, so like the 3rd or 4th or 5th of August, and it like literally booted us out of our controllers every 2.5 minutes, and we got tired, and I was like, we're just gonna play separate. So we gave up.
Oh no!
Yeah, I don't know if that's still a thing.
You went from two players to just a 1-player playthrough?
Yeah, we each have our own separate files
sucks.
now. It's like Baldur's Gate divorce equivalent, I guess.
No! Oh, no. I do think though that if you're playing single player, I think you get a lot more like lore heavy stuff. Like the more actual like NPCs you have in your party, the more of like the story you experience. But man,
they talk all the time.
That's a bummer. They are constantly talking, and like depending on who you have in your party, depends on like whatever they're gonna chatter about. Who did you primarily keep in your party, or did you like swap them out?
I primarily, it's interesting. I had always Karlach, obsessed with Karlach. She's my queen. I romanced her. I love her. I'm obsessed with her. I had Gale a lot, but then like I'm kind of magic enough. Like I found like I knew enough AoE whatever spells that I was like, I don't really need Gale. And he's so freaking squishy, and he was dying every 2 seconds. And I was like, honestly, you're such a liability. I was gonna romance him, and then he kept dying in combat, and I was like turned off. I was like, gross. Like you're literally giving me the ick. So I was like, enough. You're
giving me the ick. I'm sorry, you have to leave.
So I replaced him with Lizelle because I wanted her for the Kresh part anyways, and then she kind of was a vibe, and I liked her a lot, so I kept her around. And then who's my third? Shadowheart, because I just like the cleric role. I wanted a healer. Plus, I like her. She's kind of spunky. What about you? Who's in your group?
I was also playing with another person, so we only got to have 2 NPCs. I took Shadowheart because I was romancing her, so I thought that like I should keep her in my party. And then we also had Karlach as well, but we switched between Karlach and Lizelle depending on like who we wanted. One was usually better outfitted than the other one.
Yeah.
However, like their gear was working. But yeah, I also got the ick from Gale a little bit. He has such a weird romance route, like, and it's so weird that they literally had to patch it.
He was obsessed with me after like one conversation.
Yeah, apparently the issue was like giving him his magical artifacts gave way too much affection, which is why he was in love with everybody.
I was like, I'm just trying to not kill you.
Yeah, they're just trying to fulfill like the basic human decency, and he would fall in love with you. But it's like the first time I went up to him, he was like looking at his girlfriend, and he's like, "Oh yeah, this is like my GF. We've been together for a while." And I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." And he's like, "Yeah, like we have like crazy sex. By the way, she's a goddess. This is a goddess of magic."
So much.
And if that was like a real dude, ex too.
I would be like, "What is happening?" I would leave immediately if it was a Tinder date and they were like that.
She was so toxic. Like he explains their entire toxic relationship, and then he's like, "But I still love her." And you're like,
and then he's like, "Kiss me."
Yeah, and then you're like, "Are you flirting with me? Like, what's going on here?" But I definitely, poor Gale. I feel like, really, really took some L's there. I actually lost Gale. When you were trying to pull him out of the portal, I failed the strength roll.
Really?
And he just got slurped. He slurped back in. I never saw him again.
Wait,
I had to reload. And he got slurped back in.
I thought like maybe they kind of do a cheeky thing, like a Telltale-esque thing, where no matter how you fail, he still comes out of the portal.
Maybe he shows up, but no, he definitely just got slurped back in and then nothing happened. So,
oh my god,
yeah, he just got eaten by that portal. I was like, did you manage to collect all the starting companions?
I did get everyone. Yeah, I'm even getting like the extra ones that you don't really need. Like I chose Halcyon over the Drow. I know you love the sexy Drow, and to be fair, she's very sexy, but I killed her. And that's pretty much it, isn't it? And Volo, I guess. He's kind of like a camp companion. And then I have Scratch and the Owlbear Cub. So I'm pretty stacked. Like, I think I have everybody. Because those are all the kind of, like, minor ones. And then I have every other, like, major character there.
Yeah, I think those are, like... to like, help people figure this out, we're mainly looking at this from, I guess, like, the side of good right now for Act 1. Like, I assume you went in with, like, a moral compass. And you're like, I'm not gonna let the goblins destroy it. Did you like side with the tieflings? I side with the tieflings. You're playing Rizzler still, right? Is that who's your main? And Rizzler's good. So you've done all that good stuff too. So we don't really know what happens with if you side with the goblin camp. I know a bit because I know my partner essentially just wanted to do that bad, and so he played it up until getting her as a girlfriend, and then restarted again. As one he got Minthara, and then he was like, actually. I've heard her scene is actually quite spicy. It's spicier than Karlach's, apparently. But I've heard it's incredibly spicy. So I'm like, ooh, like I started a Dark Urge run just to see what it was all about. What's it like? So it is kind of crazy. They really just put in like a bunch of extra bits, like you can kill a bunch of people that like you wouldn't normally be able to kill, like right when you meet them. So genuinely, it's like a whole different game, but they pace it so I keep forgetting that I'm in a different game, and then all of a sudden someone will die like a horrific death that I never knew about. And yeah, it is it's just crazy that they like built out this entirely separate game mode just for like committing murder or trying to kill everyone and just use like the hirelings from Withers as your team essentially. I've never used the hirelings. I don't know. I've never really explored the hirelings. I got too attached to my NPCs. Yeah, I've heard some people kind of abuse that system and like make someone who's like the perfect pickpocketer. Like they literally craft a hireling just for that job, and when they want to like skip an area, it's almost like a strat for speed running. They'll like bring out the little halfling stealth maniac and like get them just to steal whatever they want. Like there's apparently a sword, one of the Githyanki. You know when you come out of the bridge and there's like dragons everywhere and the Yankee people are like, who the hell are you? Apparently one dude there has an insane sword, like better than even the fire one in the first area. And if you have to perfectly steal it from him and also not cut off all that content that you could get by like knowing them later on and doing the crush stuff. And it's like a 1 in 12 chance. So people just like make the halfling just to steal the sword and then like never use them again and just like chuck them away. Someone did like, that sounds like it's going to be so good for speedruns. Someone did like a sex speedrun in this game. Amazing. They got it. It was like Lae'zel, and they got it to like under 10 minutes. They could get to Lae'zel and like have sex with her. That makes sense. She's great. She hit on me really fast too. She hit on me faster than Gale. Did you find that? I think if you make the tiefling in the grove grovel to her, she's in whatever. Yeah, it's like a 3-minute speed run right now. But yeah, if you go to the grove and you make the tiefling grovel to her, she's like 100% into you no matter what. Oh my god, amazing. I think I did that. That's why. That's why. Yeah, if you side with her, she's just like all in. She's like, you smell like blood. Her. Get in my tent. She's like, don't take a shower ever. You're like, she's one of those. Okay. It's down to 2 minutes and 13 seconds apparently. I hope that we get to see this at like a GameStop quick. 2 minutes? Yeah, how? That's like, how do you even get off the ship? How do you get off the Nautilus in 2 minutes? Like, I feel like I've been speedrunning the Nautilus at this point. I've started so many games. Like, I feel like I just completely, like, the Nautilus has just become, like, something I must endure. But, like, even now, like, even just getting off would be longer than 2 minutes. Enhanced leap. Are you jumping off the ship? How does that work? You jump over everything. Huh. You don't even save Shadowheart or anything. You just jump off and then, like, have sex with myself immediately. That's the speedrun. That's amazing. That's the strat. I thought that if you didn't save Shadowheart, you wouldn't get her, but no matter what, I guess she shows up on the beach.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really tried really hard to save her, thinking she'd die. It's weird that some could die or go away, like Gale, but not others.
That was really weird. Maybe it was just one of those things where it's like, it would be really hard to fail it, and I managed to fail. Because you can also get, like Lae'zel is pretty easy to, it's hard to miss her, right? Because she's just hanging in that giant cage. Let's see. Yeah, so the Nautilus, I just kind of, like, sprint through it now. But post-Nautilus, we've got the beach with Shadowheart. Did you try to take her D20 orb thing?
I didn't, because I just knew they were going to do, like, the Shadowheart disapproves or something, like, kind of vibe. And she was, like, didn't look passed out. I was like, she's awake. She's, like, faking it at a sleepover energy. And I was like,
she's faking.
So I was just like,
I could see her eyes.
Yeah, she's, like, obsessed with me now, though.
I had Shadowheart my party, and I was like going through her inventory and like moving some stuff around, and I accidentally moved the orb from like her side to my side
before she talked about it to you.
Yeah, well, like she was like, "This is mine, and I'm not sharing it," and I accidentally picked up the artifact and put it in my inventory, and she didn't say anything.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say she like has custom link like talking about that.
I was like so terrified that she was gonna like tell me that she hated me and she was gonna break up with me. But she didn't say anything, and I was like, I guess we're cool with this then? Because it's in my inventory now.
That feels like the kind of thing that they, like, especially knowing this game, they would have, like, had dialogue for. Like, excuse me, what are you doing? Or, like, even just that,
where'd you
can't
get that?
move it. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not like you don't need to pickpocket her. You can literally just take it out, but...
Yeah.
She didn't get mad. We're married now. So I have finished the game. It was about 124 hours for me. To get through Acts 1 through Acts 3, and it's been really interesting seeing how the things you do in Act 1 sort of like filter and translate to what goes on in Act 3.
That's what I'm so curious about.
Yeah, a lot of the like Act 1, I guess like starter zone areas with the people. So like all of the tieflings, all the people you choose to save, the thing with like the hag, you can save the hag, not the hag, but you can save the girl at the hag. How that all, like, eventually the artist, like, how that all, like, trickles through to Act 3 is kind of crazy. So I'm excited for you to eventually get there. But do you feel, I guess, we probably went through this very similarly with the Grove and, like, saving the tieflings. But did you ever confront Kaga? Because you can find that note in the tree down by the hag.
Yeah, that's interesting you say that, because I retroactively learned of that. So I went and got the note, and this was after, so like in the Grove, I saved all the tieflings. I was so cute. I talked to Damon before he left so I could start fixing Karlach so that she would be, later on I could talk to him again.
So I could love her.
So I could love her and touch her. I'm obsessed with her. I love her. And then I did all that. I was such a good egg. I did kill one person by mistake and didn't like fix it. And I was like, if I was a paladin, that would have been like my Oathbreaker
Who did you
moment.
kill?
But you know that girl that's in that house and her legs aren't working? And she's like, I like by mistake clicked attack.
How did you kill her?
I just hit her with my sword and it one hit shot her. And then like, cause she was sitting on a chest or something, right? Like I wanted I'm a druid.
You misclicked and you stabbed her.
And I killed her. And then I was like, oh, I could like go back on my save and like not kill her. It's the only bad thing I actually have done since. Like I've saved everyone. I'm so sweet. I'm like nice, but I murdered this one. And
I like how no one's gonna find it, right? Because like nobody really sees it. She's in the storehouse. Her body will never be recovered.
The back. You come in through the back like a sneaky little assassin, and some rat. I was talking to a rat, and he's like, "The shiny thing's in there," and I was like, "Oh, I want the shiny thing." Because I'm a goldfish. And I was like, okay, well, I really want to look in there. And she wouldn't stand up. And I think there was some kind of subplot where you go get her medicine and then she can stand and leave.
I could not figure that out. Like I was like casting like healing spells on her. I was like, I'm a good person. I'm going to fix your legs. And then I never could. I never figured it out.
Yeah.
Never. Even like I went through all the acts and I still don't know what I'm supposed to do with her.
So you never got to look in the chest?
No, I just opened it. She was like, no, don't. No, I crouched and she didn't even see me because you know how they have like that cone of vision? I was literally right next to her, like breathing on her, but I wasn't in her cone. So I was like, I'm just going to slip in here and pull this out.
I wasn't in her cone. I'm weak.
Yeah, I wasn't in her cone of vision. See, I was surprised how quickly I went from like, I'm not going to rob the tieflings to I'm going to rob every one of everything.
See, I saved them, but I did steal their shit. So like maybe I'm still kind of bad.
I don't know. Yeah, but the tieflings, like, you follow a lot of them. Like, if you meet them, you literally follow them through Act 1 through the Act 3. So like, I'm always interested how like a dark run would go if you killed them all, because they would just be gone. And I think the dark runs just have a lot less content.
Like goblin stuff is supplemented. Maybe the goblins show up or something.
I guess I'll have to try it again and find out.
Yeah. That's interesting, because like I pretty much went to every single corner and tried to do everything, and there's only a couple things I ended up missing. A couple of the tiefling things, like I never found the kids' hideout in the tiefling area.
Oh,
but,
really?
Like, I don't know if that affected. I didn't know how to crawl in holes yet. I didn't, because I could change into a cat and just go in, but I didn't know that. I think that was a hole situation, or like a crevice situation. Did you rescue
the kid from the harpies?
No, I was too late.
You were too late?
I guess.
Okay. I actually have a moment like that too.
Oh, really? Like, yeah, like I saved everyone, and then I like realized that there was a back area. I was like, fun, and there's harpies. And yeah, my partner was like, oh, the tiefling kid's there. And I got down to the corner and it was just a corpse. So I was like, oops. So I guess like some long rest along the way, it like pushed it too far and he dies.
I did long rest myself into some like bad situations in Act 1 in Act 2 that like scared me so much I like never wanted to long rest ever again.
What happened in in Act 1
So for me, this is like skipping forward a little bit, but the Underdark, when you get to the Grimforge, the minute you get there, there's like that guy near who like speaks in your head, and he's like, you gotta come save me. If you don't come save me, I'm gonna die. And apparently like that just didn't like render with me, because I showed up and he like looked fine, and I wasn't ready to engage with his storyline yet.
It's like being poisoned actively. You're like,
he was just like, I don't know what was supposed to happen, because he was just talking to some little gnomes, and I was like, I don't know, he seems fine. Like, I'm a bird. I was a druid bird. I was like, I'm flying around looking for the forge. Like, I don't want to show, like, because he was trying to get to the forge, and I wanted to go to the forge, and I was like, I'm gonna get to the forge first. And then I came back. Everybody was just dead on the ground, just completely dead, and I was like, oh no. And then my character just went up and like hacked his head off, and I was free kill.
Mushroom guy.
Yeah, for the mushroom people.
That's probably the speedrun version of how to deal with that.
No clue.
Because that fight was brutal. That was like the hardest fight. And I was OP at that point too, because I've done every side thing. I think I was level 7. And I had to call the ogres in. I had to turn into an owlbear like 3 times just to have a health pool enough to like tank hits. And everyone died. I had to revive everyone with scrolls after. I barely beat that fight. And the fact that you got to just skip it.
Well, did you save the deep gnomes then? Because the deep gnomes died for me as well. Everyone died.
I didn't do it right because they were running away, but then they kind of got like sucked into the fight, even though I didn't. I was kind of like get out of here, but they like got hit while they were like running, and that made them turn around and be like, and like try to fight back, and then they got murked because they didn't even. I think they had a stick, and then like these people, like there was like a million enemies, and they all had like really good stuff. And then at one point, even the ogre hit one. So I'm like, I think like it glitched and it like thought it was an enemy, like or something. I don't really know.
I've had a lot of issues with like NPCs not in combat, at the end of combat, running into my like my little like knife tornado or like moonbeam. Like I'll put up moonbeam and like an NPC will like flee directly through moonbeam and die, and then suddenly I'm the baddie. So yeah, it's hard.
At you. Yeah, and you're like,
you have to be so careful about those fights. Yeah. But other than that, you've been a good egg.
I've been a good. Well, the more I talk, the more I realize maybe I've been best egg.
Maybe I haven't been a good egg. But I mean, like you saved. I assume you went to the hag.
Yes.
Saved Marina.
Yes, I saved Marina, and I gave her the wand to control her dead.
You know what I accidentally did with that wand?
What?
I sold it. And then I could never find it ever again. I was like, I don't know what this is for. It's literally called like Wand of Divorce. And I was like, stupid. And then I sold it because I needed cash.
Because that's fair, because I didn't know what it was either until it just like prompted give it to her in a conversation. Because I like came out, like I got the wand from the hag and I came out and there's like the mushroom thing that like transport you outside. And she was like 2 inches away. So I like took 2 steps and she was like, the wand! And she like talked to me and like wanted it. So I never got a chance to like sell it. Because I probably would have done the same.
That's crazy. I don't know. Maybe I never found it then. Because I swear I went out there and I was like trying to help her. And she was like, you can't help me. And I was like,
no, it like
sorry.
prompted up like give like talk about the wand and stuff. And you could decide to keep it and be a dick and be like, he's my servant now, and like keep the wand. Or you could give it to her and she's like, I guess I'll take this, and like leaves, and with him like in tow with the wand.
Yeah, that's one of those things where it's like that does affect something going into Act 3. Yeah. But also not a little bit, but like not by much, but by a little bit.
She kind of, okay. I don't want to know.
Yeah, it's
I want to ask.
No spoilers, but like there is like a butterfly effect with
Love it.
how you do things. The only other bad egg thing I did was when I was trying to get that gnome off the windmill. I read like break on both of them, and I hit one of the breakers, and he like went flying. You know,
it says break or not. I just guessed.
Well, one says break, and then the other one also says break, but the word before it is two different words. I don't remember them right now, but like I literally only looked for the word break, and I just like clicked the first one I saw, and like poor boy went flying.
So you examined them?
Yeah.
I didn't.
I hovered was like, over it, and it like told me, you just got lucky. Yeah, one was like release break, and then the other one was like stop break, and I was like, these both sound like they do the same thing to me. Like,
I literally was just like, click.
What's the worst that could happen?
He gets launched into orbit.
He literally got launched into orbit. It was very traumatizing.
And he comes back in Act 1 in the forge, but I think he died because he wouldn't freaking run away. I was like, get out of here. Like, I was trying to... But he's in the forge, like, working away. And I'm like, oh, you're here again. But now I feel like I'll probably lose out on, like, cool stuff in Act 2 and 3 with him because he died in the forge because he just wouldn't run away. I didn't want to redo that whole fight just to save him. And
it's so hard because, like, this is, like, 120 hours worth of gaming. And you're like, do I really want to redo or go back if I mess up?
For, like, a minor NPC character.
Yes. Yeah, for, like, such a minor thing, you're like, I guess I'll just, like, do it all over again, but better?
But then you want to do a Dark Urge playthrough next time, and you're not going to save the little guy next time. You're going to launch him in orbit.
He's going. I'm launching him straight into space.
Yeah.
But luckily, this is one of those games where it's like in like 5 years, I'll be like, you know what we should play again? Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
So we have that.
And like bringing in friends who aren't D&D people. Like I'm not. I know you're like a D&D person, but like I'm not, and I'm already like I want to have my friends to like D&D so we can play D&D because of this game. Like it's so fun.
I think it actually does a good job teaching you D&D stuff.
Really?
A little bit, you know, with things like range, like the range of things, the width of things, like how cantrips work, how bonus actions work. I think if you can get all the way through it, I think you would absolutely have a leg up playing D&D. Although D&D is a lot more adding numbers together, which is a little annoying.
Oh yeah, the reality of it all. I remember.
Yeah, the reality of it's like one move is like, okay, roll 5 d4s and then add all the numbers together and +1, and that's your damage.
And that takes like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. What's it like coming to this after playing so much early access? Because you should talk about the. I'm really curious. Is it just weird. Act 1 that was early access?
Only Act 1, and I don't think when I originally played it, I don't think the Underdark was entirely fleshed out. I don't think you could get to Grimforge, and I do not think the Mushroom People were there.
Okay.
There was just the early like gnomes were down there. But
was the crest and everything there?
The Mountain Pass was not there.
Okay.
But you did get the cutscene with Lae'zel and like the dragons and them like denying her. Essentially, that was in there. That's kind of it. Basically, ended at like the first Goblin camp. Like I rescued Halsin and it was over. Essentially.
Okay.
That's where it fell off. But the interesting thing is, you know, when you create your guardian in early access, they were very, very clear that it wasn't just like your guardian, but it was like a romance companion. I don't know if they called him like your lover or something, but it was like very clear that this was somebody you were like romantically involved in.
Oh,
and weird. I believe the opening cutscene was like you and your guardian like laying on the ground together, like clearly post hanky panky. And you get up and you look over like Baldur's Gate and they're wearing like a toga or something.
Oh,
it was
what?
like, yeah, like the entire like opening cutscene with your guardian was very, very different.
That's not in it at all anymore. Like the vibe of that is completely gone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like they still kind of like present them to you as like, you know, like you're romantically interested in this person, maybe. Yes, no. But yeah, it was like clearly they were like, this is the person that you dream of. This is your lover. Like now smooch. But yeah, I'm glad they changed it. Carlock also looked cool. Have you seen like early Carlock?
No.
She's literally unrecognizable from early access. Yeah, she went through like 2 character passes to get where she is now, and she's like completely unrecognizable. I was like, who is this? When I first, she looks way cooler, like total glow up for her.
Okay,
so yeah, she's like so much better now. Absolute glow up for her. Okay, but I guess like speaking of the Guardian, brainworms, yes or no? Are you using the tadpoles? You are?
The tadpoles, yeah.
I didn't. Yeah, I don't know. I just said no because it's like when like a hot person like tells me to do something, it like immediately makes me like suspiciously hot person and like immediately makes me like not want to do it.
Yeah.
So I like swore off the tadpoles.
But you made them hot.
Yeah, it was my own. I was in a prison of my own making in this situation. But I was like, I said no because it just seemed like an evil thing to do. Like, oh, put some worms in your brain. And I also like wasn't experiencing much hardship otherwise. Yeah. And he's like, would you put some more worms in your brain? And I'm like, this doesn't seem like a solution. Yeah, so my run was like completely wormless.
Wow. We're fastest wormless run, potentially.
Yeah, completely wormless.
See, I wanted the worms after the crush scene with Lysel when I realized that they were lying about the machine. So that kind of like made me go, like maybe like this could, not that it's a good thing because I watched the initial cutscene where he shoves that in your eye and that is the most uncomfortable thing. I hated watching it like the multiple times I have watched. You've probably watched it the most out of anyone.
I'm skipping like all the Nautilus cutscenes. It's like skip.
Yeah. Oh, I hate it. Oh, the eyeball thing. Worms. Yeah, bad vibes. But I don't know, like, as soon as that happened, I was like, oh, not that I think the worms are bad, but I think that the developers are telling me, like, maybe it's not all bad. Like, it kind of seemed like a little hint that, like, you've been lied to about the worms a little. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I want to try the worms. Also, like, the first, I forget what one it's called, but it's the one where, like, you get an extra saving throw. It's like a very luck of the something. It's, like, the best one in the skill tree. I was like, I just really want that. And then as soon as you got one worm, it's like, okay, well, I'll do this. I got this other worm. And
you're like, look at all these other worms I could get. By the end of the game, I had, like, Shadow Heart's inventory was just, like, full of worms.
Oh, you have all? Yeah, you would just keep all the worms.
Like I didn't eat them. We just kind of like I don't know, adopted them.
Yeah,
these are my worm babies. But yeah, definitely interested to do a worm because I don't know, like the vibes I got was just like bad vibes.
Yeah,
bad vibes.
You were just like no worms. Like it's gonna
no,
make me
because I thought that I would get to the end and they'd be like, oh my god, you're so talented, you didn't even use the worms.
Yeah, it'll be like easier to get
but
saved.
Nobody did that.
But I feel like if they can remove one worm, then they can remove all the worms. So either we're going to get to the end and they can't remove the worms and I have a worm, or we'll get to the end and I'll have lots of worms and be really powerful and they can't remove the worms also. So it's like,
yeah.
Hopefully, I don't know. Maybe they'll say this too many worms.
I like how you were optimistic about the worms and I was simply pessimistic about the worms.
The worm half full.
You were like, how bad could it possibly be?
I did make Karlach take one worm and that's it. That's the only other party member who's used a worm.
And now you're pushing worms? You're like a drug dealer of worms? You're peer pressuring people to eat worms?
Yeah.
No, I did not trust the Guardian. I don't know. No? I didn't trust him. I don't know. He's just bad vibes when like the voice in your head is like, I don't quite remember where Act 1 ends with the Guardian, but like when the voice in your head is just like, do more. I don't know. I don't trust it. I don't trust the voices in my head.
I feel like the most Guardian stuff was the Kresh stuff, where the god of the Githyanki, what's her name?
Oh gosh,
something or other.
Lays out the queen, the current queen.
Queen Valkith.
Valkith.
Valkith. Valkith. I kind of believe my Guardian when she says that Valkith is like a phony. Like, do you believe that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just believe that everyone in power in that game is probably a bit of a phony. Like, I guess that I just have issues with authority and not, like, the authority of a man speaking in my brain.
Hot people and people with authority.
Yeah, don't trust any of them.
Yeah, I don't know. As soon as I kind of realized that she seemed a bit desperate and I think she was lying, that's when my worm phobia, like, kind of went away. I was like, maybe I'll use these worms. And then But I've also, like, I feel like most people aren't using worms. I don't know what the stats are. They probably have released it. But I can totally understand the abstinence to worms. Because it's like, it's
worm abstinence?
Worms abstinence. Yeah.
I think either you have to go all in on the worms or not use the worms at all. Because, like, at what point, when do you stop the worms, you know?
Yeah. Like, well, I wonder what happens because you know how it can, I don't know if you've seen the animation, but when you put in a new worm, it like grays out that portion of your brain on in the little like information thing. And then it like burrows in a really aggressive way. And all the tendrils of your brain are grayed out. And then like you can pick it up and actually move it around. Like once you put the worm in, it's not like locked. You can like move
It's not a permanent worm. Do you
No.
think, like, if you get a bunch of worms, they're just kind of like your brain would just mostly be worms?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like,
do you think the worms are friends in your brain?
Would your brain turn off and your worm?
This baby can fit so many worms in it.
This baby knocks on your skull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you get to the Underdark? What was because there's several different routes to get to the Underdark.
Let me think. I got to the Underdark. I didn't take the big pit you can take and drink like a falling potion, which is amazing. That's a way. Did you take the pit?
Yeah. I had Featherfall.
Oh,
so I just cast
smart.
Featherfall, and there's like a really cool cutscene you get where you all just kind of float down.
See, that's because you're a D&D girl and I'm not, because I didn't think of that, right? Like I was just like a pit, and I was like Tears of the Kingdom pit. Like I'm not Link, so I'll walk away. Like
I don't have a parachute. How am I gonna get in this pit?
Yeah, I wasn't creative at all. I was like pit, and then I walked away. But you were like, I have potions for this. So that's interesting that like that comes to your brain more naturally than it would for me, because I
was looking for an excuse to jump into a pit. Keep Featherfall in my hotbar.
What's the other way in? Is it
the other way is like through like an old Selenite temple? I think you can get through.
That's how I got in. Yeah, that's where
through the Goblin Camp. You go through the Goblin Camp and then you go down through the Selenite temple.
It was so. I was worried that once I entered there, I couldn't go the mountain pass way, because I found the mountain pass first because it's the most like upstairs and like out. And I was like, oh, because they kind of have a little warning that's like, you're about to go somewhere new. Like, are you sure?
Yeah.
And I was like, So that made me go and do like a million other things in that first area. And then I Googled it to make sure. I didn't Google spoilers, but I Googled, once I go to Mountain Pass, can I go to Underdark? Because I wanted to go to Underdark because that's where Damon, the guy who can fix Karlach, said they were going. Yeah. So I was like, I want to make sure I see Damon.
Infernal Iron.
Yeah, I wanted essentially this whole game I've just been trying to fix Karlach, and like other adventures happen. That's like kind of what it feels like.
Along the way of fixing my girlfriend. We have many adventures. Can I be honest? Can I have a moment of vulnerability? I totally whiffed on the mountain pass.
What do you mean?
Because they were like, oh, the mountain pass is like hard, and like the Underdark would be way easier. Just take the Underdark. So I took the Underdark, and that like punts you right into Act 2.
Did you not go back up?
Well, and then I did Act 2, and I was like trying to not get to it. You could technically go back once you get to Act 2. You could go back and do the mountain pass, but I like wasn't ready. I don't know why I didn't do it right away. And then I waited too long, went into Act 2 too far, and I tried to go back to the mountain pass, and my guardian was like, do not go back to the mountain pass. And I was like, bestie, why? I haven't done it yet. And he was like, do not. And I tried to go, and then they get a cutscene of you getting pushed out. And I was like, no, I want to go. And he was like, if you go, I will no longer protect you. And I was like, you can't tell me what to do. And I went back to the mountain pass. I literally got a cutscene turning into a mind flayer. And then I got like a game over, like a legitimate game over.
What?
He was like, if you go back to the mountain pass, I'll take my protection away and you'll turn into a mind flayer. And I was like bluffing. I'm going to call your bluff. He was not bluffing. I literally turned into a mind flayer, immediate game over.
Oh, that's
total
so
whiff.
crazy that they did that. Because I would have thought you could go back and have you done the Crush stuff at all?
No. And it ended up being like a huge. I mean, like you can spoil it. I have like full intent to go back and do it again, but it became like a huge blind spot for most of my playthrough.
That's like a big part. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like talking to friends and they were like, "Oh, like you wouldn't know that because you didn't go through the Mount Pass." And I was like, "They said it was gonna be hard."
Oh no. See, that's because I Googled it, so I knew that you have to do both and then you move along. So I went up to the Mountain Pass, I did all the Crash, and then I went down to the Underdark and I did all the Grim Forge and all Grim Forge and all that stuff, and then I went to Act 2 via the Underdark and I moved on. But I knew that all the Mountain Pass, but they did gas up the Mountain Pass as being like really hard. You're right. Like they definitely made that, even though the Underdark seems like it'd be way scarier. they were like, don't go mountain pass. Oh my God. And I was like, oh, okay. Like ended up being fine.
I thought that like it was going to be kind of like a one or the other and like you would pick and like it would kind of lock you into that.
Yeah.
But I know I should have like double checked because that's the one I missed. So I don't know if it had that.
The Gale wizard?
What wizard? Oh, the old man? Yeah, he pops out of the Underdark. Yeah, he pops out of the Underdark.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. Then like explains
Elminster?
Some type
of the end of Act 1?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, he was in the mountain pass, and he just was like hanging out on the side of the road. That makes so much more
sense. I was like, who the hell is this in the Underdark?
Where was he in the Underdark?
Just chilling in like a hallway. Like there's literally a door that you pop out. You like walk down like a hallway, and then you're in Act 2. Like it is a lot easier than the mountain pass. And he's just there. He's just there in the hallway. He's like, do you know a guy named Gale?
Oh, interesting. So they knew that you shouldn't be skipping that because that's all the Gale is a nuclear bomb stuff in Act 1.
Yeah, that was so funny when they were like, by the way, he's an atomic bomb now. Like, I was like, poor guy.
I know, like that. Yeah. So that's interesting that can't be skipped. So even if you try to go back to see Westminster Abbey, it like will force him to go to Underdark so that you see him. Mm-hmm. So that's good at least. But that means, the Crush stuff's really cool. Like we don't have to talk about it too much because you'll eventually play it. No,
I was surprised. I guess like now that I'm through the entire game, it really does seem like every character has a section in the game.
That's
like
Lae'zel's.
Every character. And that's Lae'zel's, and that I realized, I think in Act 2, that like it's really beneficial if you put that character in your party when you travel to that area. You get a lot of like more personalized story. But
that's what I really like.
Definitely Act 1. If I could redo it, I would do all of the above ground stuff first, and then like maybe then do the Underdark and then do the Mountain Pass last.
That's the exact
if I could
order
do it all over again.
Yeah.
I was bopping around too much.
Because there's a lot of fun side stuff in the Crush too that's like weird. Like there's an egg you have to steal, like not to get too into it. You like steal a Githyanki egg, and there's like all this lore about.
What does it grow into? Is it actually a Githyanki? A person?
They lay eggs.
Oh my God.
Like a lizard.
They lay eggs?
Lae'zel talks about it at one point. Like you can ask her, you're like, you lay eggs? What the hell? And she's like, yes, we evolved to lay eggs after the Mind Flayers like became our enemy. Like it was some evolutionary purpose. I can't really remember exactly how that would track. Like, oh, Mind Flayer, I'll lay eggs now. It doesn't really make sense. But like there's this whole egg side quest that's like very weird.
I already have like my second playthrough planned, and it's like I'm gonna go to the Mountain Pass. I'm not gonna let all the deep gnomes die. I have like a laundry list of like things I messed up at this point.
Yeah. I really regretted the deep gnome deaths because I went back to the girl whose boots, like the sad girl at the mushroom area. She's like, my boots, like I stole them. And I was like, oh, like I did it. And she's like, I'm fantastic. But then I had to follow up with, and all your friends are dead. And she was like, damn. Except for that one girl with the like explosive powder. I guess she got away technically, but everyone else died, is what they said. Even though I saw a couple of them run off screen. But I guess like if even a couple of them die, it just like the game
counts
says
them all as dead.
You killed them all. Yeah, they're dead.
Yeah, I did. I like literally did not even get that fight. When you went down to the forge, and I assume you fought like the forge monster.
Mm-hmm.
Did you crush him in the forge hammer?
No, I didn't know because I
didn't know that was an option.
Did the thing pop up?
Yes,
and it was like defeat him without using the forge hammer. I was like, what the fuck? Oh, excuse me. What the hell is the forge hammer?
Every time I would get an achievement for like accomplishing something, I would be like, I didn't know that there were alternative methods to this.
Yeah.
Because they were like, oh, you're supposed to. They made it seem like it was so obvious that you would lure this monster under the hammer and then crush it with the hammer. It was not obvious.
I was trying to like. I didn't realize that he only took damage when he was like heated from the lava. Also,
because we just like boxed him in on the lava and. Yeah.
Oh, see, yeah, like I was doing major damage because I have Karlach and Lae'zel, so I'm like a big brawler. Like my druid kind of hangs back and does spells, and then Shadowheart just heals. And I respect her to be like a full healer. She's not a trickster cleric anymore. She's like what's it called?
Cleric?
Life cleric, So like her healing went from like 5 heals to like 30. So I was like, oh my god, like get her in there doing that instead. I don't know if I hope that doesn't like affect anything about her story.
No, right? It doesn't. Because I took I took one character and I just like completely rekitted them, and they'll still refer to them as like a cleric, even though they're like sitting there as a bard or something.
Oh,
and you're
really?
like, yes, the famous cleric bard person.
I guess they can't realistically account for the, like, if they want to give you the tools to be like, do whatever you want. Like, I'm not gonna get mad if they call like someone a cleric when they're not anymore. I'm like, that's fine, as long as they can do whatever I want them to do. But yeah, like the Forge, oh my god, that fight was brutal because I was just brawling him, and like at the very start of the fight, I guess he gets heated up. So I was like, look, I'm doing decent damage, and I was like kind of OP at that point. And then all of a sudden, like the lava went away, and I didn't notice that like that was the reason why all of a sudden I was only doing like 1 damage, and he was destroying me. So and I fought him for like a few minutes, and I was like, oh my god, like he's been at like 100 health for so long. What's going on? And then I was like, I'm gonna try. And then as soon as you heat him up, you dummy him again. But like, I almost died in figuring that out. And then I didn't even use the Hammer Forge.
I don't know what that was the boss that taught me to start right-clicking and like examining bosses before I try to attack them. Because he like doesn't take radiant damage or something, and I didn't know that or something. Like I literally had to right-click and like double check, because at this part you're starting to get into a lot of bosses that have like a ton of resistances, and some that will just like do a ton of damage if you ignore them. So
who's in your party? I don't think we said that at the top.
I had Shadowheart and Karlach in my party as my NPC. And then my PC player, the other PC player, was playing as a monk. Cool. I was druid until level 5, and then I respec'd into wizard, because wizard level 1 through 5 sucks.
But wizard higher than that is awesome, I'm guessing.
Yeah, wizard, once you get a lot more spell slots and you get like Misty Step, you can actually like use Misty Step multiple times. You're still squishy, but like you can get away. Like I was like zooping all over the place with Misty Step, but
oh, that's good. Yeah, see, I have Misty Step on Karlach and Lysel, so they're like brawlers who can just like cover the entire map. Like I hate when the fight starts and they're like 3 moves away from hitting anybody. I can just Misty Step and like wail on the first thing I see. But that's because of some, I don't know if it's like armor or something. They must be wearing
there's some like armors or shoes that give abilities.
Yeah, I think it's shoes. That sounds right. Yeah.
But I think I was just like trying to get through Act 1 because I'd already done it in early access. So I just like really, really wanted to see Act 2. So I spent a lot of time, but like also not that much time. Like when all the Deep Numb dies, I was like, oh, this is going to weigh on my guilty conscience for a little bit, but I'll get over it. I did bring the guy's head back to the mushroom people. Yeah. Like and then they like mushroomify it.
Yeah.
And I like took it back. So then I had this guy's like mushroom head in my inventory for like the rest of the story.
He kept it, I think, for me.
I just went up and I just like took it. It didn't say I was stealing. I was like, Yeah, and I just sat in my inventory I thought it was going to be worth something. It's not. Spoilers, it's not. But it literally sat in my inventory.
It's not even a buff on it, like extra mushroom.
No, it's just this man's mushroom head. It says it's like a key item, but I don't know what I did with it. I did accidentally put that like buff mushroom guy in my party.
Yes, he was in my party, but I betrayed him.
And then at the end, he was like, let's overthrow the mushroom people. And I was like, I didn't give him like a hard no. I was like, I don't think that's a good idea. And he was like, okay, I'll meet you there. And we can overthrow them together. And I was like, and he literally just sat there with a quest marker above his head, like waiting for me to overthrow his people with him.
And you left him there?
And I just left him on red.
Oh,
I was like, we're not doing this.
He's waiting for a fight that will never happen, and you're done the game.
Yeah, he's like, any day now, she'll be back and we'll overthrow these people.
They're like, why is he waiting over there? He's being really awkward. He's waiting for a mutiny that will never happen.
He just keeps checking his phone.
She's coming, I swear. Oh, see, I killed him. Like, I killed him down at the docks when he first was like, let's do this. Speaks so crazy. And I was like, no, you. And then he was like, fight me then.
Wouldn't it be crazy if we murdered everybody?
Yeah, so you didn't get the scene there with the mushroom people where they like really, like they like you and then they kind of like you and then they are obsessed with you. If you do like 3 things for them.
Oh, they still danced for me, I think.
Oh,
I got the necklace. Which was like the spore necklace.
But did you tell them he wants to kill you? And I said
I thought that I would have that opportunity, but I couldn't. Just like I thought that I could like snitch to Halson about Kaga and he would kill her, but then he doesn't. I don't know why I kept thinking that I could like snitch on people.
Yeah. That
Even
was the
when
thing.
You do snitch.
That was the thing I forgot to mention too at the top is like, yeah, the Kaga thing. I went back and found the note and I was like, maybe I can go confront her even though that quest is done and you can't. Like unless you find the note like in the midst of the Grove issue, like finding it later, you just look at it and go, oh, okay. And it's like Kaga still is hanging out like with the druids. It's kind of like, ew, I want to like...
It bothers me so much that like you tell Halson, even if you tell Halson about it, he's like, I'm just going to demote her. And I'm like, no, I thought that we were going to kill her. Like, I somehow thought that, like, if I snitched to Halson with the note, he would, like, think that I was so cool. I don't know why I thought that.
The druids can go against her if you tell them at the right time. But not Halson.
Not Halson. He's just like, she was a little bad, but, like, what's a demotion? I'm like, no, like, she's evil.
He doesn't seem like he takes his first druids thing very seriously. I think there's even, like, a conversation you have with him, like, do you miss it? He was like, haha, no. And I'm like, well, I don't think you should. He's like, don't trust someone who wants that kind of power. I'm like, well, I want someone who is responsible to want the power to like protect other people, you weirdo. Like he was being very cagey about it. But I did see a video where, because I like, after I was finished Act 1, I was like, what happens if? Like I was doing a lot of YouTubing, like, what happens if the gnomes don't die in Act 1? Like they all go, yay, and then the boot girl is happy with you. Like I just kind of wanted to see, but I wasn't ever looking forward to like the long-term effects. So I still don't know like if I just missed out an entire gnome thing because they all died because of my irresponsibility.
Yeah.
My bad babysitting skills.
That's the worst part about Act 1 is like not knowing how everything might change down the line and then knowing that you might have to redo some stuff. But yeah, it's not what was interesting is like some of the little things. It's like you literally just get like an extra quest, like an extra side quest by Act 3. So it's not like going to like drastically change the end of the game. It's not going to be like, well, you could have gotten the great ending, but now you only get the okay ending.
That's good then, because I really thought it was going to be like, oh my god, you didn't give me the wand to save my husband? Baldur's Gate has fallen! Like whoever knows or whatever.
It's so interesting how it's like, basically they just give you different solutions to things, which I think is what's so interesting about this game is like, essentially you get like a ton of different solutions for problems. Yeah. And it's like, if you do all of the busy work, you'll have all the solutions to choose from. But if you don't do if you just want just one, then you just kind of get what you get.
Yeah. There's so many extra things you can do that like I don't even think of until I see someone else do them in a video. And I'm like, you can do that? Like
Owlbear from the top rope. Have you seen that?
No, what's that?
Owlbear from the top rope is like a meme where like you can apparently like the strongest thing you can do is like stack a bunch of crates and then put them on top of them, have them turn into an owlbear, and then have them jump on the enemy. And apparently it does just like absolutely insane amounts of damage. Oh, because
that jump thing is based on your like your weight or something?
And like the distance. So it's like you just stack a bunch of crates and then someone turns into an owlbear and they jump.
And it's just like WWE, like
it's like one of the strongest things apparently you can do.
Oh my god, what? I'm like an owlbear every other fight. I didn't realize I should be like jumping from high up down. I'm just kind of jump like sideways and like prone them and move on. Interesting.
So that's an interesting thing to do. I'm trying to think if I like accidentally killed anybody else. This is when you start to get the interesting look at like Shar versus Saluna. It's sort of like what they plant the seed in Act 1.
I'm very curious about where that goes because I like Shadowheart and I kind of, the way she described her religion, I was like, okay. But then now that I'm hearing external people talk about all the horrible things that have happened, I'm like, because she described it as like, we go in the darkness and we topple over regimes and we expose conspiracies of corrupt overlords. I'm like, dope. Like, that sounds super legit. Like, okay. But then other people are like, they murder innocent people like every hour. And I'm like, oh, like that's the opposite of what Shadowheart said. So I don't know what it's going to be. So I'm really interested in that. And I hear that you like get a lot more of that in Act 2. It's like an Act 2 thing.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to make decisions. I wonder, like, I don't really know if like she'll like want to leave if I'm like, never mind, your religion sucks, and she gets mad at me. Like, I don't really know what the vibe is there.
Yeah, Act 2 is big on... Act 2 is, like, Shadowheart's chapter, essentially.
Is it?
Yeah, more so than the other characters. Because, in Chapter 1, you get Lae'zel, mostly. I don't know, not really Karlach, but yeah,
So
Shadowheart.
what if you killed Shadowheart?
That's the thing. Is like I
Can't.
guess like I think it just like goes through some like really generic route. And you just kind of miss out. I think with any of the NPCs, all you miss out in is just like additional story telling, like additional cutscenes. I do have a friend who's replaying, and he's only playing as the origin characters. So he's playing as Karlach. And it's so interesting because they literally, apparently only like 1% of players chose to play as origin characters. People would much rather make their own characters. But I was watching him play, and he got the cutscene where like Astarion comes up to bite you. And Astarion's like, I can't bite you. You're literally on fire. And then they have this whole conversation about like, okay, if I, was going to bite someone, who should tell me who I should bite, essentially. So I just can't I cannot wrap my head around like all the different like writing and text in this game.
Specific, yeah.
Yeah, because it really, and you can like romance people as Karlach, right? And like every one of the characters has like their own text. And it's just like, it's just insanely huge. Insanely huge.
Whoa, that's so crazy because they had to care enough that 0.0001% of people play as Karlach, and then he tries to, because he could just bit her, right? Like we don't know her blood's hot. Like I know she's hot, but like maybe her blood is cold or some weird D&D reason. Like even when you have an infernal engine, your blood is normal temp. Like they could have easily done that. But they're like, no, here's a whole extra thing. And then he asks you who he should bite, and you can tell him.
Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, like. Well, if I had to bite somebody, because I do have to, who do you think I should try for?
Oh my god, that's so crazy. That makes me want to have Astarion in my, like, who's one side character you want in your party, but you don't have them because they're just not, like, how you want to fight.
Yeah.
Like,
I know, but now I'm like, now I have to play again. And it's
so you
like,
have all different people, do you think? Like, Gale?
Yeah, or, like, yeah,
Halston?
It's like, do I play as Gale? Do I play as, like, if you get to pick an origin character, like, what's it like playing as Shadowheart?
Yeah.
During like her chapter. It sucks that now I'm like, I have to play again as one of the characters just because the dialogue is so insane.
I even got a lot of different dialogue because in the creche, because I had Lae'zel, and so that was fine. And then my druid and Shadowheart both had, what's the spell where you can change your appearance? Like disguise.
Disguise, yeah.
So I disguised them both as female Githyankies. So it was 3 Githyankies and Karlach, who they kind of ignored, but they were like, look at the Githyankies, come in Githyankies, and they like talked about it like as if we were all Githyanki, and I was like, oh well, it wasn't just like just me, but Shadowheart too. And I guess like, when the game was just like, and Karlach's here, but we just ignore her, I suppose. But they even have like custom stuff for that too.
It's absolutely insane how many options you have with this game. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm surprised there isn't more bugs with like them saying the wrong thing all the time because the like trees just get messed up or something.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Do you
remember? I guess have we missed? I guess my other question would be like, and this is like totally pivoting because I just keep forgetting it. Do you remember the boat fight in the Underdark? Did you have to do the boat fight?
No, I talked my way out of it, but I've seen people fight there.
Not for the love of me talk my way out of that fight.
But you're the Rizzler.
I wasn't the Rizzler. I was the wizard in this playthrough, and I had like no charisma. I was just I only know spells, not words. Can't speak.
I think I just did a perception
or
a deception
fight
check or something, and he was just like, "Okay, I'll go with her," and he just came on my boat, and we sailed into the Grimforge.
I had to, and then the worst part about that fight was like they kept pushing my characters off the boat.
Oh, and
so like people were constantly getting like absolutely just yeeted into the water and like absolute just dead.
Oh,
but yeah, I had to do that fight.
When you landed, was everyone aggro as soon as you got there too?
No, that was the weirdest thing too. Is like I showed up after like murdering their entire group, and they were like, "Oh hey, true soul, we like your worms."
What?
And I was like, "Thank you, fellow absolutists."
That also confused me in the goblin camp because I killed like 1 million goblins, and when I actually walk into the camp, they're like, "Want to trade? We're having a drink. Play Chicken Run or something."
They're like, "We love."
Why are you pissed at me?
The only like out is that like you're a true soul, right? Which I guess I kind of appreciate because they're like, "Oh, a true soul, you would never do anything wrong." And you're like, "Absolutely."
You like leaned into deceiving them?
Well, I felt like I had to because I tried to avoid, as much as it doesn't seem like it, I tried to avoid combat as much as possible.
Yeah.
if I could avoid it, I like tried to avoid it. But yeah, some situations I like didn't get a key item or like totally missed something and it was just inevitable.
Yeah.
I was proud though of like freeing Skaza, the goblin in the tiefling camp in the grove.
I didn't free her.
You let them kill her?
She didn't get killed, but she was still in the cage. So it was like,
I don't know
what
if
happens
this is
if you
possible
free her?
deniability. If you free her, essentially you have to sort of like shepherd her out through the back, right? Because if you free her out through the front, she'll get attacked. So you have to shepherd her out through the back, and then she runs to the goblin camp, and then when you get to the goblin camp, she meets you at the front, and she essentially takes you like directly to Minthara.
Oh.
She's like, let's take you to meet my boss. So like she literally takes you straight to Minthara, and Minthara's like, what, like, this is a true soul, like, do you not know this is a true soul? And then she gives you the whole like razzle dazzle, wouldn't it be funny if, you know, you betrayed the grove and then we killed everybody? And then that's when it was nice because that fight, I could just kill her and it was just like her and like 2 goblins.
Yeah, in that room.
Yeah, but essentially she takes you directly in and like none of the goblins try to fight you.
Oh, see, I completely raged my way through there and I couldn't even talk to her. She didn't talk to me. She just immediately started fighting me. So I never even talked to her yet. Like I've only ever seen her talk like in videos and stuff. Because I freed Halsin first, and then I went into her room and fought her. With
Halsin in your party and everything?
I sent him back home because the way the text read, it sounded like he was going to die. He was like, I can come with you. And it was like, it's too risky for you to come. You'll certainly perish. Like, go back to camp. So I was like, oh. So I just like said that and took my normal party and like didn't bring him. I was a druid anyways too. So I was like, I don't really need a druid. Like I can be a bear.
We don't need 2 bears here. Get out of here.
Awkward. Like, get out of here. Yeah, I don't need another bear. But I couldn't even talk to her because, like, as soon as she saw me, it was like, roll the dice sound, fight, and I couldn't talk to her.
Oh. It was like, you know, that was like the option where if you wanted to betray the camp and like show up with the goblins, that was like where you had to do it.
Oh, because I always kind of wondered, like, how do I get that option? Because I wasn't provided it, but maybe because I started, like, when I walked in, there was like 3 people in the lobby of the goblin castle.
The lobby?
The lobby of the
You're just chilling in the lobby.
And I was like, I tried to walk past them and they're like, what the hell? Like, get out of here. And I was like, what? And so I tried like to sneak and it's like impossible because their cones are like the door. So you like can't really sneak past. And I didn't have Misty Step or anything. Plus, even if you Misty Step, there's like 4 more.
That's a lot of people you have to fight.
Yeah, it was like hard to get through there.
That's a pretty wild fight.
And as soon as you're aggressive with one goblin in there, all of them are aggressive. So, like the guy in the back in his chair who's like looks like a demon king, like he was aggressive as soon as I came up around the corner. And there's like a bunch of others just like nestled around. No one ever was like, huh, did you fight someone in the hallway? Like, I guess not. Except the only ones who weren't like that is the room where Halsin's in, where he's like a bear in the cage.
Oh.
And it's like their names are like 3 and something, like the goblins who actually had personalities.
1 and 3?
Yeah.
Because they were 2.
I was like, there's clearly something. I thought that too. I was like, where's 2? Like, okay, whatever. But they were cute and they like chatted with me and then I killed them. Everyone else was like, she was in the lobby and she did something. Like they like knew.
We saw her.
Killed someone.
Yeah, that was such an interesting one because you could literally just go in and like privately eliminate all the goblin leaders. Although I don't know about the guy on his little like throne. He was kind of tough because he wasn't by himself. So that was always a fight. Yeah.
Apparently you can just stealth up and push him down I guess where his chair is, there's like a hole. You can just, I saw someone just a Shadowheart drink potion of visibility, walk up, shove him, and just leave. And that like counts as like overthrowing him and not to fight anyone else.
Nice.
Which is crazy to me that like they accounted for that. They're like, oh, someone might invisibility spell chuck them. Just like make that a thing. They're like, okay, cool.
I know I released the spiders on them. Then I was like, be free, because there's that spider pit.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, be free. I was like a druid then. So I was like, be free, spiders. Like, overthrow your oppressors. And then they came out, and apparently the goblins are like super scared of spiders.
Why
like,
if you're a druid, a spider pit?
I mean, like, if you're a druid and you turn into a spider, apparently they just like run screaming from you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which I never knew, because apparently they're terrified of spiders. But yeah, I released the spiders, and they fought with me as like tentative allies in that fight.
Oh, what? That's cool, because I only let them out after I was done killing everyone. So they were just like bet and like walked out, and I was like, okay, bye. Like they didn't need to
thanks,
fight.
Dude.
Like they kind of just walked out the front door, and I was like, that was nice. I didn't even think about how they probably were there to be allies, and I just didn't use them until the end because Gale fell down there. Yeah, and I just had to like tuck him in a corner until the fight was done because I couldn't get him back up.
You're like, stay here, don't get hurt. Oh, that must have sucked. Yeah, I fell in that pit too. I had to Misty Step out, but like you could only Misty Step out if you could like click somewhere else. I don't know. It's wild. Get anywhere. Yeah, and like we haven't even covered the Paladins, like Karlach and the Paladins, and like the shipping company, I guess is what I would call them, with their with the vial. Because, you said that you took the vial. Remember from the podcast? Did you? And then you opened it. Yes, and there was like an eye monster inside, a giant specter in it, and then you also had to fight them. Yeah. Well, I didn't even need to fight. What was weird, and I feel like I also would like to go back and see what happens, is what is that like group? They're called like the Z something. They're in like a little Zentrim? Zentrims. They're just like a evil shipping company? I just want to call them like evil Amazon. FedEx. I don't Everyone's like, oh, our shipments aren't coming. The shipments. And I'm like, but they're like bad. Yeah, like, so I drew it as a cat and I meowed in the corner of the cave. So then I was able to lockpick and steal it, and they didn't know I did it. So I was like, oh, I hope that like lets me get my cake and have my cake and eat it too. Like I can get the item and also they're not pissed at me. But then later on I went down into their secret hideout behind the Ardmore or whatever. And there was like that was where the artist guy was, and I was nice to him and gave him a bunch of money. So I'm excited for him to come back and do a painting of me or something, I assume is the follow through. And then they had what's his name tied up to a chair, and they were like torturing him. And they were like, "You lost the stuff, you stupid." But then they knew I had it. Yeah, they were pissed at me because I had it. So I like walked up and they were just like, "This guy didn't follow his agreement. Like he lost the thing, so now we're gonna kill him. That's what we said." And so I could either like kill him myself or say I'll deliver it myself because they knew I had it. They're like, you have the thing anyways, just deliver it yourself. I was like, how did you know that? But anyways, or I could just like not do anything and they kill him. So I said, no, you can't kill him, because I felt bad because I was the one that like put him in this mess. And it was crazy. So like, you know how in that area they have like oil everywhere on the ground? Yes. And they just light it on fire and like completely torch you and torch everyone on the main floor. So like 3 of them scamper up the ladders, and then like before I realized that's what they were doing, they threw a fireball and everything exploded, and like Karlach died immediately. Oh, and like everyone else was low health. Oh, really? So like I had to like reset. I had to like revive her, and then like, oh my god, drink a bunch of health potions and get back to fighting order. And only my druid had Misty Step, so only I could. That like also destroyed the ladder, so I couldn't get up. Everybody's like burning in hell. Yeah, so it killed the dude anyways. It's like crazy the guy how in the some chair. Of these fights go from like 0 to 100 just based on like the layout. Oh my god, I audibly was like, whoa! Like as soon as that happened, because I remember walking in, I was like, why is there oil everywhere? That's weird. And my brain incredibly suspicious. Yeah, like my brain was like, oh, weird. And I was like, art. And I like went and talked to the artist, and then one fireball did like so much damage and killed everyone I was trying to protect anyway. So I was like, oh, I'm like, so in my brain I was like, oh, maybe I could have changed that, because like the merchant there was really good. Like he was buying things for high prices. I sold a bunch of stuff to him that I was carrying for like a long time. And I was like, oh, this will be nice to have a merchant. There's like a teleporter right beside him. I was like, perfect. Because I didn't really have a good merchant at that point. I also just killed everybody though. Oh, really? I didn't know I think I might have ended up killing the guy because I stole the object, and then they like found out that I stole it from them, even though they didn't see me steal it. I like talked to them, and then they jumped me, and then I killed them. That's like me then. That was like a similar vibe, but they threw a fireball at me and lit me on fire. But you were counterspelling, you said. Yeah, eventually when you're a wizard, you just kind of become like a counterspell. Like that's your entire job. Like your job is now no longer to cast spells. You simply just counter the spells because it's kind of broken. Oh my god. But like, yeah, then I just kind of killed everyone in that whole cave and took all their good. They had good loot there. There's like still items from there I still use. But yeah. Good stuff. Yeah, someone said, I wish Karlach's body set off the traps. Dr. Zing said. That would make sense. Oh, yeah, because she'd be stepping on the oil. Yeah, and light it on fire. Yeah. There are some areas in Act 1 that, like, I wanted more from in Act 2 and 3. I don't know if I just missed it, but, like, the evil shipping company, like they have like a continuing storyline, but like their entire storyline is essentially just being evil and like shipping evil things all over the realm, and that's like what they do. But if you're in the Underdark, you go to like the Archmage Tower. Did you get there? And you have to like dodge a bunch of lasers to get in. I don't know, I never quite got like a closure to that tower because they have all those automatons in there.
Yeah.
And they kind of tie it to Act 3, but it's just such a cool place.
Did you get to the roof?
Yeah.
Yeah, with like you put the flower in?
Yeah, and then like you talk to the little robot guys.
Yeah. And then there's a key.
Like, we're like here. Yeah.
And then there's a key and then it lets you get in the basement.
I don't think I got to the basement. I think that's where I got lost. I got too distracted by the dog collar. Did you put the dog collar on?
No.
There's a grave in the Underdark that they're like, do you want to defile this grave? And I said, was playing a necromancer, so I said yes. And it's like a dog collar. And then you go into the Archmage's Tower and he has that little dog set up.
Yeah.
And there was that button you could press. And they're like, the button seems to do something, but like you don't know what it does.
Oh.
If you put the dog collar on and press the button, you get a free steak. That's it. You just get a steak. But I thought it was really cute.
Because it's like the dog is supposed to be the one pressing the button for the steak. Yeah. That's so nice.
And it was like the dog would press to get food, I get.
Oh my god, I pressed that and my girl was like, oh, I wonder what this does. And I just like gave up and like started reading other things and looking at other things. That's so funny that's a whole thing. I don't think I found a grave to defile. Where was that in the Underdark?
I don't know. It was just randomly like somewhere in the Underdark. Yeah. But because it's like so big and there's just so much like little stuff everywhere. Oh no. I lost Haley. Come back. Haley, if you're talking, I can't hear you.
Furrows. I don't know why.
Oh, you're back. Yeah, you're back now.
There we go.
Oh, thank God.
That was like the longest it's been. My internet's been so annoying lately with that. People from the last episode were laughing that every time I made a point about internet, that's when my internet froze.
They can hear.
Yeah. What did you think of the Last Light In stuff? The like Isabel. The like.
That's Act 2, right? Is that not Act 2?
Is it?
I think it is Act 2. It is.
You're right.
Shh.
I won't talk about it. Although they do talk about it a little bit. They mentioned that it exists, so hopefully that's not a spoiler.
Not to like spoil too much, but like Act 2 was such a vibe shift from Act 1.
Yeah,
Act 1 is very like I had so much fun in Act 1. It was very like la-di-da-di-da, like fantasy, like the sun was out, we're like traveling through the forest.
There's dogs
you're like meeting
and cats
forest
and
creatures. Yeah, there's dogs, cats, you're like fighting evil witches and like kicking goblin ass all over the place and like saving an oppressed people. Like you really feel like powerful leaving Act 1. And then Act 2 is just like, sit down, bitch. You've got some lessons to learn.
Yeah, I found a big tone shift as well, going even further into the Underdark. But I do like the vibes of Act 2 too, though. It's like now stakes are rising. Like I have enough power that I feel like I can actually damage things. So now like actually scary. Oh my god, I won't spoil it, but like one of the first monsters that comes walking around the corner with a torch in his hand, I was like, oh, like, he was terrifying looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my god, is that the vibe? Like before this, it was just like a squirrel who was like, don't touch my nuts, and now it's like horrifying monsters.
Yeah,
with, like,
oh my god, I hope we get to do a Act 2 max spoilers, because like Act 1 is great, but like Act 2 is like when it really starts to get into its like it gets into the steps itself, and then it starts to really go off the rails a little bit.
Yeah, like I think what I'm most excited at the end of Act 1 is like, what's up with Shadowheart and her religion? Are my worms actually hurting me? Did I make a mistake using all my worms? And is my guardian lying to me or not? Are like my big thing. Like, those are like my big questions currently.
Should I not be putting these worms in my brain?
The worm that we're all so afraid of in the first place, why we're all friends, is like, I'm like, more, and no one else wanted to except for Karlach, probably because I romanced her, so she was like more susceptible to me being like, you should try. She's like, okay, but like I actually tried with Lae'zel, and it had to be a 20, and I got a crit 20, And she was like, maybe I'll try.
Nice.
And I didn't give her a worm because I felt like it was kind of against her character to like want to put another one in.
You were like, sorry, this isn't in your character development.
Even though I peer pressured her to want to.
If I could go back to Act 1, I would definitely... I have to do Act 1 again, because it's like, now I need to do the mountain pass. I want to confront Kaga, and then I want to get to the basement of that Archmage Tower. Because apparently I got to the 3rd floor, and I was like, I don't know what's going on here. There
isn't the craziest stuff in the tower. Like, of everything, I was most disappointed by the tower. Like, I thought more stuff could have happened in the tower, to be honest. It seemed like they were building up to be this cool, oh my god, something crazy is going to happen. And it was kind of just like, the tower. And I was like,
with all those like obnoxious lasers too, I was like expecting more of a payoff. I mean, it is a cool building and you get to talk to the automatons. But yeah, it definitely feels like that's one of those like cut content places.
Maybe, yeah. Like, I think you're right.
Because there was also really nothing going on with that guy that's collecting the mushrooms.
Oh, yeah. I think you can give him... I think they ask, I messed this up, but you know how they ask for the forgotten something mushroom? They're like, that's what we're looking for. But all of them lit on fire and destroyed. Like, I lit them all on fire and they all got destroyed. I saved him and then just like shot them so that they would explode. But I didn't realize that destroyed all the mushrooms they were looking for in that area. So they were like, if you ever find one, give it to me. And I was like, ooh, I destroyed them all. So I can't give her any. So I don't know what I lost out there.
Oh, yeah, and then you also meet the nice mind flayer down there. Omalum. He's with the mushroom people.
Find him? He's just hanging out?
Yeah. Okay, so I can't believe you missed him. He's with the mushroom people. I say as I skip the entire mountain pass, who am I to judge? But he's got like an orc boyfriend, or I like to say that it's his boyfriend. And they're doing research on... I think they're doing some kind of like research down there together, but he's like a mind flayer and he's like super chill.
What? I completely... He's just in the mushroom area. I completely missed him.
He's just chilling with his boyfriend in the mushroom area.
Oh my god. How did I miss them?
And he talks to you about he tries to see if he can get rid of your weird worms, and then he's like, I can't get rid of your worms, but like, I'm so sorry that this happened to you. Oh
my god.
He tries to he tries to cure you. He's like a totally chill mind flayer, which is why I always got upset when like, who says like mind flayers don't have souls? There's like someone that's like, there's like someone very adamant. Maybe it's the Emperor or something, like your guardian. But it's like, he says that like, mind flayers don't have souls. And you're like, but Omalum or whatever his name is so chill.
I wonder what the lore is of that. There must be a reason, the same reason that you're not turning, maybe. Because he's supposed to just be a hive mind.
Withers is the one that's like, mind flayers don't have souls. And I'm like,
Withers.
They've got such good vibes.
What the heck? Oh my god, I want to go back and just chat with him and his boyfriend now.
They're literally just vibing. This is the only place where our love is accepted. They don't say that. That's my headcanon. But that's what I consider headcanon. Withers seems like an authority. Yeah, Withers is a weird character.
I didn't save Withers. He just showed up at my camp one day.
And you were like, that's so embarrassing for Withers.
I know, I was like...
He just has to show up.
That's what I thought too, because they clearly want him to be like a mechanic that everyone has. But I went to wherever that place, that chapel or whatever, where you're supposed to save him. And I didn't have a destroy trap thing. So I was like, I guess I'll come back later, because like then you can't move the sarcophagus to get the key to go to the room where Withers is. So I was like, I'll just come back. And then I went and did just like pretty much everything else in the entire Act 1. And then like halfway through that, like I looked to the side of the river at my camp and there was just an old mummy. And I was like, what the hell? And like went over and get
a cutscene. You just look over and there's just some guy there.
He's just, and like I think maybe the game was like there's someone new at the camp, like talk to him, and he had like the exclamation point, or maybe I'm trying to remember what it did. But I walked over and he was like, I'm Withers, and I was like, what the hell? But then when I went back later to the chapel, his like sarcophagus was empty, but I could read the plaque and it like had some obscure language. And when I went back to Withers, I was like, was that yours? He was like, yeah. And that was how they wrapped it up, I guess.
It's embarrassing that like he had to like literally like. You didn't get him, so he had to, like, walk of shame, like, exit his coffin and, like, walk all the way to your camp. Like...
Be like,
That's so embarrassing.
Oh my god, that's
like,
so
"Aw."
true if you think about it that way. He's like an ex or something. Like,
Yeah.
she's definitely gonna come hit me up. Like, I just have to wait in this coffin and she'll totally want me. And I was like,
Like,
done act 1. And he was like, damn it.
hey, yeah, did you get the Book of Thay or whatever, like the Necronomicon? Apparently there's a Mysterian object.
Oh, really?
I didn't realize. Yeah, like he's the one that has like the most cutscenes with it.
Oh, he I didn't have him in my party, so he never talked about it with me.
Same. Poor Astarion got absolutely sidelined, and he has some of the best lines in the entire game.
I love him. I really I'm sad he's not in my party. Like, I'd really like to have him, but I just don't want a rogue. Like, that's not how I want to play.
Apparently there's a mod that you can download that it'll let you have everybody in your party. Not fight. I don't know if they can fight with you, but you can have them in your party.
They can just hang out.
Yeah, I think the only solution though is to just play as an origin character. Yeah. If you're trying to get all the lore as upfront as soon as possible, I think you just kind of have to pick an origin character.
Super fair. Hitmonchan says make him a barbarian. Honestly, I could just respec him as a barbarian and do that. That's totally
the nice
true.
thing is, you totally could just respec.
Yeah.
100 gold, I feel like is such a deal.
What's that?
It's like 100 gold to respec, right?
Oh, yeah. It's not even a lot.
Yeah.
Even I've used withers to bring them back from the dead, and I thought I was going to get penalized, they wouldn't have their items or something, but they came back and they were like, bah, 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 and they ran through camp and they were totally fine. And they had all their stuff and they looked cool, and I was like, all right. But there was a weird glitch where they would wear their pajamas out venturing, and I had to manually go in and switch their outfit back to you know how you can click hide outfit?
Yeah.
I had to unswitch
so they were just kind of stuck in their camp clothes.
Yeah, Lae'zel came out in her lingerie and was trying to fight. And even though she had the armor on and it wasn't like she was taking triple damage. It just wasn't showing. That was a weird glitch I got. What was your favorite side quest out of all of them, do you think?
My favorite side quest in Act 1.
Yeah.
I really, really liked oh gosh. Trying to think of the one that I liked the most. I liked getting to I just kind of like the Underdark the most, I think. I think my favorite side quest was probably the mushroom one, if I had to pick, where all the mushroom guys dance.
Pretty nice.
Although I do miss them. Yeah. That was the only one where I've done good.
I really
like the It's too bad you
hag,
never got into the hag quest.
Yeah, I really liked that one. That was very Witcher 3, I thought. It really reminded me of Witcher 3. And apparently there's so much extra stuff with her. She can try to remove your worm.
I had her do that to me.
Did she do that with you? Interesting.
She just stabbed my eye.
She
took my eyeball, and then she was like, I was just joshing. Or she thought that she could, but then she releases a bit of a lore dump, and she's like, I can't. Your worm is a special worm. And I was like,
that's probably the earliest you could ever learn about that kind of lore, probably.
Yeah. Your worm's a special worm. Did you let Volo try to remove your worm?
No. Because I squirmed out. He started, and he was like, whoopsie. He was fumbling and stuff. I was like, nah. I was like, enough. Because I really hate eye stuff.
I think that was my favorite side quest, was having Volo lobotomize you.
What happened?
Because they ask you multiple times, he picks a tiny needle.
Yeah.
And then he goes to stab you, and then he's like, that didn't work. And then he takes out essentially an ice pick.
Yeah.
And he's essentially trying to lobotomize you. And the game asks you 3 times, do you want to go through with this? Do you want to go through with this? And I was like, this is I don't care. I need to see this through. So I let him lobotomize me. Essentially what happens is you lose your eye. Your eye falls out and it hits on the floor and it makes a squelching noise. Oh. And then he's like, oh, I can give you this other eye. He has a glass eye. He's like, I just carry this eye. It looks almost the same as my eye. It's just a little bit greener. But if you have Karlach, it looks totally different. So I guess it just depends on
the tieflings with their black eyes or whatever.
Yeah, if you have a normal eye or not. But because of it, I can see invisibility up to 9 meters.
Oh, so, what?
Yeah, so because I let Volo lobotomize me, I can see invisibility within a certain amount of space.
Oh my god, that's a crazy buff. That would have been so helpful.
It's pretty good. You have to be within a certain distance from it, but I have been in certain battles where someone's tried to go invisible in front of me, and then it's just You failed. She could see invisibility. So it turns out if a bard offers to lobotomize you, say yes.
Oh. Oh, wait, does he leave camp after that, though? Is a question from
He
chat?
does, but then he comes back. You can get him back.
Because I use him to sell stuff.
Yeah. He leaves, but then he comes back.
Every day I reset him just to sell all my daggers and stuff to him, because you can trade with him.
I didn't know that.
It's like what I use
because I let him lobotomize me on site. But yeah, he comes back at like he like comes back. He's like one of those like long-term characters that you just keep finding in bad situations.
Oh yeah. That's good, because I want that buff, but I want him to stay so I can sell a bunch of stuff to him, essentially.
See, I didn't know. I was just like, absolutely. Yeah, he's totally embarrassed after he maims you.
Really?
Yeah, he just ups and leaves.
That's so funny. Wow, that's so crazy that gives you a permanent buff. Did you read the book, the necromancy book, and get that permanent buff?
I did. Yeah, and then if you read it all the way through, if you like figure out, if you get the key for it, and then there's like another key you can get. It's basically a long-term quest, and then Act 3 it like unlocks and it gives you forbidden knowledge. You get like a forbidden knowledge buff, and you get, I think, an extra spell that's pretty good. Although they had to nerf it because I guess too many people got it. Oh,
really? Yeah, like I save like broke it so that I would read the whole book because I wanted to. I was just like really curious, and I had the amethyst just from like fighting the spiders, so like I already had it, so I just like shoved it in right away as soon as I found the book. And my like a druid, it's like perfect because it increases your wisdom, and that's what I deal with magic anyway. So it was like essentially a free like feat, like improvement to my wisdom, and I was like, oh my god, awesome. But I also feel like with this kind of game, it's kind of like with the worms. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna regret that.
You're like, will this ruin my life?
I'm really curious if I'll enter Act 3. Yeah, exactly. I'll enter Act 3, and they're like, your body's deteriorating. What have you been doing to yourself? And I'll just be like a slump against the wall because I've been making I'm nice to everyone else, but I'm horrible to my body. Is kind of what.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. I feel like such a people pleaser. Like I have such an issue like saying no to people, even like it. I don't know. That's why I'm glad I'm doing like a Dark Urge run, because the game essentially, like, they're like, it's okay. Like, the Dark Urge is essentially you're trying to fight this inner murdering demon inside of you. And they're like, it's okay. Like, you know, sometimes like the murder demon just wants to come out to play. And you're like, what have I done?
I'm so curious to what the long-term like Act 3 effects of the Dark Urge playthrough, because they clearly have thought it out, and there's like probably a whole Dark Urge ending, and it's like this crazy thing. But I'm not trying to Google anything because I know as soon as I look up Dark Urge playthrough, it'll just like Google shove it.
Yeah, it's getting harder and harder to avoid spoilers.
TikTok, I'm like, I can sometimes have to like barely look at it and like swipe up, and I never look at comments on Baldur's Gate TikToks because people just write. Like I already kind of got spoiled about something because like the first comment was like, I wish blank didn't have such a horrible ending, and I was like, what the hell? I had to like jump out and like scroll up. I'm like, now I don't know what happens, but I know they don't get a happy ending. Yes, like, that sucks.
Yeah, avoiding spoilers is definitely really tough, especially with a game like this where you're like, okay, cool, 120 hours just to find that out.
Yeah, like this is like the one game like since like Tears of the Kingdom, which wasn't even that long ago, but I'm like, I cannot get spoiled. Like I need to just know what happens at my own pace. If I get spoiled, I'm gonna be so sour.
Yeah.
Act 1 was a very good setup. Like I'm about as intrigued as I ever could be with this game. Like I can't believe I like it more than Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah.
I know. So do I. My bar was low though.
I really thought I was gonna like Tears of the Kingdom the most this year, and this game came out of nowhere, and I'm like, oh, it's way better. Like I think it's way better than Tears of the Kingdom. But so I'm hoping that you played,
and you went in like I played, Divinity Original Sin 2, but you haven't even played that.
No,
which is wild. So I like went in knowing that I was in for like an absolute treat. But
yeah, you knew this was like your game of the year.
This was my game of the year like before it even came out.
Yeah, like in 2019.
2021, I think, is when the early access was. And I was like, well, can't wait for my 2023 game of the year to come out.
How hard are you going to fight on the 210s for this one? Is this going to be like your champion?
It depends how much we can rally it. But I mean, it's top of my list.
Yeah. I feel like if it's, because Leo's enjoying it. He won't finish it, but like in the last podcast, he was having some fun with it. I'm trying to think who else, like, I don't think Jacob. It's not Jacob's favorite. Jenna really likes it.
Yeah.
Ben hasn't even played it. I think
Ben like played it on
Lucia
stream and
Plus.
like died on the Nautilus or something, and now the internet's mad at him. So
which is like hard to do.
I don't know how he died on the Nautilus, honestly. Apparently he tried to fight the evil. He tried to fight like the demon,
the Firesword demon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which you can kill him. I did kill him on one of the runs and take his sword.
And that sword's apparently amazing. I didn't kill him,
Yeah.
so I missed out on it. I wish I had it for Karlach or something.
Yeah, it's an okay sword, but it's not like, you know, it'll just help a little bit with the start of Act 1, but
yeah.
You know, was just like, how, and like literally the game is like shouting at you. They're like, go to leave, go.
Yeah.
Don't stop. There's a turn, and then like the turn countdown. They didn't used to have that. They were like, go. They're like, do you see this 4? Now it's a 3.
Yeah, I like I gave him the craziest berth. Like I like went around the whole room on the side and like made
I basically
sure not
just
to get near
sprinted.
him. Yeah. I think chat's agreeing with us that this is top of 210's material right now.
Yeah, the chat who came to listen to two people talk about Act 1 of Baldur's Gate would be biased, would never be biased.
Sure?
I assume that they are the best judges.
Man, is it a 10 out of 10 game for you, having completed it?
Absolutely. Like I finished it. It had some like just like the best moments in gaming that I've ever had. Like I don't know.
The ending's good, like without saying it obviously. Like you like the ending?
I think it would have been incredibly hard for them to like stick the ending. I liked the ending. I don't think I liked the ending for like all my characters. So because I messed up Lae'zel, like she clearly went in like a different direction at the end, and I was like, she went back to, because I didn't like, she was still like thought that like Vlaakith was cool and stuff. Because even in Act 1, they're like, she's not cool, but because I didn't do that, she was
really
like
trying to not like make her like.
Yeah,
Vlaakith,
she was like, I'm going back to my Vlaakith and my queen at the end, and I was like, no.
Interesting. Yeah. See, like that's what I'm intrigued about is like how if I can turn her, if I can make Shadowheart not be a murderous goth all the time, and if my worm goes away. Because I just care about the girlies. Like my team's all girls. Like I just like care about them. I really like Astarion too. But like I could drop Halcyon. Like Gale's cool, but I just like haven't had him in my party. So I probably would like it more if he was in my party.
Now that we're at the end of this really long discussion, and I don't think many people will make it here, I find the guys so lacking.
Yeah.
What the hell? Like what's up with that?
I know. I liked Gale a lot at first. Like I found him really charming right away.
Yeah.
And then I got the ick. And I think that's from combat though. But the girlies are in combat like the fighter barbarian combo of Lae'zel and Karlach has been amazing because they each move 2 times. And then Lae'zel also has that power up ability, so she moves 4 times. Like how am I gonna swap her out with Gale who throws out 1 like spike growth or something? I'm like, that was cool, I guess, but like Lae'zel literally hit them in the face 8 times, and what sucks is you didn't do the Kresh because there's a lot of Githyanki. If a Githyanki is wielding this weapon, bonus, and like you just hit her up with all stuff, and she's so strong. Like she has this great sword that's like a Githyanki great sword, but it's like
I think I stole one of those.
Oh, maybe you have
spoilers.
It has it written like if a Githyanki is wielding this, do extra 1 to 4 psychic damage, which is like huge because now all of a sudden you just have extra damage for every hit. And if they happen to be like weak to psychic, which like a lot of areas have a lot of, like she's just essentially just going like bump bump bump, like 4 hits destroying them. So I like, how can I swap her out with freaking Halcyon, who I'm already a druid anyway, so like especially him, who cares?
And Halcyon's not even like a main NPC, right? He's just like a side piece.
Nah. He's very much tucked in the side of camp. Like it seems like they don't really care about him too much.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just feel like all the guys, like I put Will in my party, and like he's just kind of boring because he's like the lawful good. So he's like always trying to do the best thing, and he kept missing for me, and I kicked him out. I was like, we can't have this performance.
The warlock,
put him on
right?
like put him on like a PIP, a performance review. And I was like, get out of here. And like, yeah, Gale's fine, but I was a wizard, so I kicked Gale out.
Sure.
Astarion's great. I think Astarion's like
he's my favorite of the boys. Yeah. Because he has like, I'm curious to what's going on with him vampire wise too, like with all his talk. And I think it's interesting that he's only able to do what he wants because of the worm. Like I think that's a really interesting story element that like doesn't get talked about as much. Like he should be a slave right now, but he's not because the worm's like taking over that part.
So he is
really
just like a
interesting.
totally, and Karlach too, I think, isn't the worm. I don't know if the worm's like helping her, but didn't it help her like escape or something?
I don't know if did the worm do that with her too? I don't know.
I don't remember. I know there's like two NPCs. It's Astarion and someone else who like the worm actively is benefiting them.
Yeah.
And they're like, this is actually helping me.
Is it not Shadowheart? No.
I don't know if it's Shadowheart.
I can't remember who it is.
But yeah, Astarion's like the only one that's like gung-ho about the worms.
Yeah. And he's like so evil though. Like sometimes I'll stop by to chat with him and he kills me because he'll be like, "What if we did this?" And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Holy shit, no!" And he's like,
"Boo. Consider what if we betrayed everyone and then killed them all?"
Yeah, he's like, "You know the Grove? What if we basked it in blood?" And I'm like, "Astarion!"
I couldn't like I wanted to romance Astarion so bad, but like I was just too much of a good person. He like hated me.
Yeah.
I was one of the 100,000 people in the first week who got rejected by Astarion. So like Shadowheart was like kind of my rebound, but she's great. She gives me smoochies on demand now. I like that when you get cute. Yeah, when you get far enough in romance, you can go up to them and be like, "Can I have a kiss?
Yeah.
Can we kiss?"
Can I have a kiss? I only do that with Karlach. I've only romanced Karlach. But like, yeah, walking up to her, she's like, I'm like, "Kiss, kiss." And she's like, "Okay." And that's like where, and then I guess you can bring up your relationship. Like I can say about our relationship and like break up with her or just be like, "Everything's cool." And she's like, "Awesome."
I did have to break up with Gale because I didn't know we were in a relationship.
Oh, that's awkward for Gale.
Yeah. He did not like that. But it's interesting how some of the characters are like full monogamous. Like Shadowheart, you can't romance anybody else if you're romancing Shadowheart.
I don't know this because I'm being monogamous with Karlach. Some of them are like open to poly stuff, and some of them are like,
some of them will like share, and then others are like less open to sharing.
Interesting. What's Karlach?
I think she's open. I think she's open to. I think she's like the most open because once you like save her, she's just like happy anybody can touch her.
Yeah.
Was like the vibe I got from her.
Yeah. Yeah. She was so cute though. Like when you first tell her like you love her, she's like, "Ah, me too." Like she's just like says it back to you in the cutest way. And you're like,
I think Karlach has like the most normal relationship.
Yeah.
Like it just seems like the most accurate look at what like a relationship would be like.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
She feels very like first girlfriend for like a bi girl or something.
Yes.
Like she's just like super cute and like you're like,
that's the same.
You're just like, happy to be with her.
There's like if you have Shadowheart in your party, there's like a voice line that you'll get when you first approach Karlach, and Shadowheart's like, "She looks like someone who could like throw me over her shoulder and whisk me away if I was in danger." And I was like, "Yes, Shadowheart,
yeah,
you get it."
I like specifically brought Will with me to get Karlach because I've been doing that. Like even if it's just for a second, I'm like, clearly Will needs to be here. Like he's been gassing up finding this one-horned tiefling, like it's clearly her. Yeah. So like I brought him with me and he was so funny. He was like, "You're who I've been searching, I'm gonna kill you." And she literally flipped the script in like 2 seconds. She's like, "But I'm so cute." And he was like, "No, everything I know is a lie." And I was like, "Yay." And then he didn't want to kill her. And then after that he was like, "I'll trust her with my life." Like literally because she was charming for a couple scenes. She was like, "But what if I just came back with you?" And he was
the power of being a girly.
Literally, like he was
a cute girly.
ready to murder her, and she talked for one line, and he was like, "Never mind." Like that's the power.
And then I did appreciate how much he just kind of flipped though pretty easily because I didn't want to have to sit there. I didn't want this to be like a multi-chapter like, "Oh, what about everything I know is a lie?" I was like, "Nope, let's not do that."
Oops, I think I lagged out again.
You did a little bit.
Whoopsie. But
that's no worries.
I've heard that Will's very flirty when he's in your party. Like he hits on you and also everyone else.
Oh yeah. I've definitely seen voice lines of him literally like hitting on all the girls.
And like in front of the other ones. Like he'll hit on Lizelle and then be like, "Shadowheart, you too?" And she's like, "Ew, like hello, we're like walking together right now on this path." Interesting. Yeah, Will, I do like I know what you mean. Lawful good's boring, but I appreciate having a character who is lawful good so they don't drag out stuff like that, like you're saying. Like I think that would have been really boring to be like, "Oh, woe is me, we're here with an evil tiefling and I have to deal with it and I'm gonna whatever." I guess they kind of did that with Lizelle and Shadowheart a bit, but with them it was like more interesting. Because remember when Shadowheart and Lizelle like hate each other, and I don't know about you, but they tried to kill each other a couple times at camp, and I was like, "Chill."
And then they were like, and then if you can let Shadowheart kill her. Or, like, I think you can let them fight, and then one of them does die.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I don't remember which one.
I was
pretty
like,
sure.
go to bed. I was like, get off each other.
Yeah, you can let them. But then it's like the next day they're like, we're sorry that we fought. We apologize for our actions.
Like my daughters or something fighting on a road trip was the energy. Yeah.
But yeah, they could kill each other in that cutscene. The Mizora scene where like Will gets turned into a devil.
Yeah.
That was interesting, but
I didn't see that coming.
I didn't either, and then it happened and I was like, oh, now you're way more interesting.
Yeah, see now I was more interested in him too.
Yeah, Will was like lacking in like the characterization everybody else got, and then he turned into a devil, and I was like, oh.
He needed a struggle, because up till then he was like the perfect boy everyone loved.
Yeah.
And I was like, yawn, like that's kind of boring. And now he's like, he looks evil, but he's still good. Fun.
He needed some adversity. Yeah, and I appreciate that they gave it to him. And then Mizora is like another like reoccurring character.
They talk about contract law a lot when she comes up, actually. They're like always talking about...
the devils are like constantly like citing stuff. They're essentially like lawyers.
They're like clause 3, like the obligation, but not the requirement to go after blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, that makes sense. Like that's well drafted. Good job. Like I guess they're really good at drafting contracts in hell. Makes sense, I guess. Mm-hmm. That would track. But I thought that was funny. There's a couple other times where you find contracts on the ground and I get excited. I'm like, I want to see how like a contract, and then it's like a detailed contract is 40 pages long and trails off and whatever. Like, when they just do a block and they describe what the document looks like.
And you're like, where's the contract?
I know. I'm like, let me see. I want a new president. The only person who's upset about that is probably me.
But I guess this isn't like so much of a spoiler, but it's kind of a spoiler. But Raphael's storyline, Good Egg storyline, is I think one of the best going into Act 3.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
One of my top. So definitely make sure you're like following up with him.
Yeah, I've only seen him once again since then in Act 2. Mm-hmm. But I talked to him and like was a good egg. So I'm intrigued. Like when he first pulls you into that room in Act 1 and like is like, here's a delicious meal. Also, I can fix your problem right now. I was like, oh shit. Like I hovered there for like a long time being like, like, I don't know. Like I almost said yes, but then Asterion was rightfully like, you're making a deal with the devil, like chill out. And I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But then afterwards, Asterian's like so obsessed with him. He's like, do you think Raphael's gonna come back? Do you think Raphael's gonna come back and like offer us like
He definitely has a crush on him or something, but yeah, I'm very intrigued by him. I think that's a cool like fix your problem immediately. I was like, wow, what? I was just crossing a bridge or something too in the first area and he just showed up.
Yeah, I really want to know if he actually does fix your problem or if he's just kind of like, if you get to Act 3, then I'll fix your problem. I know he does have a game ending. Like if you choose to side with him.
Okay, yeah, like you're saying, like if you agree, he'll say see you in Act 3. He won't actually fix it in Act 1.
Or do you think he'll actually fix you?
I don't know, but I see, and I want to look it up, but I also don't, because then I'll look at something and the caption will be, Raphael is the final boss or something, and I'll be like, I didn't want to know that.
It'll be like, Raphael, actually your father, ... like.
Yeah, like the worst spoilery caption ever invented. So I just like don't look up anything.
Yeah.
The only thing I looked up was the Tiefling kids camp, because that felt safe. Like, where's the Tiefling kids thing? Because I missed that. And then what happens if you don't kill the goblins in camp in Act 1? Like those are like the only two things I looked up. Because I wanted to know like what Mysteria or whatever her name is like says to you, and it's like, here's my proposal.
Oh,
like,
Mathara, yeah.
Mathara, yeah.
The only thing I looked up was once I got burned on Nier's death, I did look up a list of like Act 2 and Act 3 quests that would like progress if you long rest.
To make sure you don't ever skip them?
Just to make sure I didn't accidentally like trigger something and then long rest through it.
Gotcha. There's another, apparently if you when you encounter the fire and you're supposed to run in and like
yeah, if you don't like immediately go in, they all burn to death.
Yeah, if you long rest, it's like, well, the fire finished. What are you doing? Like, why did you long rest?
Yeah, they're like, what do you think was going to happen? You came up to a burning building and then left. Like, did you think the fire was still going to be there?
I think that's so funny that they like thought of that. And like, it's only certain things that like make sense. Like, why would I long rest when there's a fire happening? Like, I can't go to bed. If your house was on fire, you wouldn't have a nap. Like, you'd save the people currently.
yeah.
But that goes against what other games would do. They would be like, good morning, fire! Like, they wouldn't care as much as this dev
Yeah,
does.
Tears of the Kingdom,
like,
it would just be on fire for
forever.
200 hours, and then you could just come put it out whenever.
For
you felt
200
like it.
years, and Zelda would have
Yeah.
some lore. She'd be like, the fire burns while I'm sleeping. She'd have some better British accent.
It's been burning for 200 years, waiting for you, Link. And it'll burn for the 100 hours it takes you to get here after you pick up those 300 apples.
Literally. Oh, man.
Don't worry, no rush.
Yeah, I'm so surprised how much I like this game. It's just like such a treat that I didn't anticipate. Like all day I'm
I
like
know.
working and I'm like, Baldur's Gate later, yay.
I pretty much like no-lifed it, right? Like I
Yeah.
just said goodbye. My house like fell into shambles. My dog was like, please remember that I need to at least go outside. Like I think at one point after like playing for 12 hours, I literally had to walk outside and stare at grass. Cause like I just hadn't seen the sun. I had to literally go outside and like actively try to like look at things in the distance
Go for a
and
walk.
not my computer monitor.
Yeah. Your dog was like over your shoulder watching you pet Scratch. Like, ah,
Yes! Why don't you pet me?
love me.
Did you know that you can more than double the amount of podcasts from MinnMax every single week by supporting us at the $5 tier on Patreon? You don't have to listen through the browser or anything dumb like that. You'll get access to a private RSS feed if you support us on Patreon. You put it in your favorite podcast app, and then bam, you can listen to our weekly bonus podcast Party Chat, the podcast versions of The Deepest Dives, MinnMax interviews, Max spoilers, and you get the MinnMax Show podcast a day earlier than everybody else. So please help support independent games media. Head over to patreon.com/MinnMax with 2 N's.